Welcome back to this local update for the Channel Islands Harbor community. We're diving deep into the essential activities and, the crucial upcoming events spanning October 19th right through November 2nd.
Yeah, it's a really interesting couple of weeks. You've got this heavy lift, essential infrastructure work happening right alongside some of the lightest, most fun community celebrations.
Exactly.
We're here to pull all that news together for you, give you the context on what really matters right now.
That's the plan. We've gathered everything, giving you the deep dive on what's happening from locals for locals. And really, to get a handle on our harbor community this week, you got to look past the Halloween costumes for a second and consider the massive work happening right on our coastline.
You absolutely have to start with the dredging. I mean, the sheer scale of the ongoing maintenance dredging project, it's this huge foundational effort. U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Ventura County, Manson Construction leading it. It's like the constant heartbeat of the harbor.
Right, and it's way more than just making sure boats don't, run aground in the channel, isn't it?
Right.
This is practically built into the harbor's DNA, historically speaking.
It totally is. The Channel Islands Harbor, see, when it was designed way back in 1965, it was deliberately engineered to be a sand trap.
A sand trap.
Yeah. Its main job, its vital function, is to catch sand moving south down the coast. That stops Huname Beach from eroding badly. If the dredging stops, well, Huname Beach eventually just disappears. It's really our primary coastal defense line.
Okay, let's break that down a bit, maybe with some numbers. Because the timeline, the scale, it affects everyone.
Yeah.
So where are we right now, and what's the actual goal for this phase?
Well, operations officially kicked back off in early October, and they're set to run pretty much nonstop through February 2026. The specific goal, it's immense. They're aiming to move about 1.3 million cubic yards of material from the harbor entrance.
Wow.
Yeah, and that sand, it's then treated as beneficial reuse.
So that huge amount of sand gets pumped through that mile-long pipeline we all see.
That's the one.
Straight onto Huname Beach. Replenishes it, stabilizes the shore. That's real resilience, protecting everything nearby from storm damage and whatnot.
It is. But hitting that 1.3 million cubic yard target by February means running the operation 247, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Okay.
And that constant work, well, it obviously creates friction points for the community, especially for folks living closest to it all.
That 204/7 schedule, that's the trade-off for getting it done efficiently, which I think residents understand is necessary. But where did the contractors make adjustments to maybe lessen the disruption for people on Silver Strand?
That's the key detail, yeah. While the dredging itself, the pumping, the sand moving, that's continuous. But using the heavy equipment, specifically on Silver Strand Beach, that's restricted.
Oh, so?
They only run the heavy machinery between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. So managing the noisy equipment during nighttime hours, that's a direct nod to the impact on residents. Trying to balance the essential work with, quality of life.
It's definitely necessary contrast to this past weekend, which was much less about heavy machinery and way more about costumes and community fun.
Right.
That shift from huge infrastructure projects to, costume contests is always a bit jarring here in the harbor.
Yeah.
We just wrapped up the 4th annual Parade of Frights and all that stuff on Saturday, October 25th.
Yeah, that event really took over Harborview Park and the areas around it, turned it into this buzzing Halloween hub from, mid-afternoon right up till 9 p.m.?
The land activities are pretty extensive. The Channel Islands Farmers Marketplace stayed open later, till 6:30, which was great. And the Maritime Museum got really involved, hosting a free haunted courtyard. They had arts and crafts, a scavenger hunt, lots for the younger kids early on.
And you can't forget the Wolfsburg Finest VW Club. Their trunk or treat was fantastic. They had 20 or 25 cars lined up, all decorated, handing out candy. That's a big deal for the local kids.
Oh, absolutely. The vibe really peaked around 5 p.m. with the costume contest and parade. Always fun seeing everyone turn out for that. And they gave out those cool Halloween medals.
Yeah.
And then the main event, of course, the non-competitive Halloween boat parade kicking off at 7.
Yeah.
Just spectacular lights and decorations out on the water.
That kind of turnout, it really shows the strength of the local community spirit, doesn't it? Everyone jumping in to celebrate together before, turning back to the more serious civic stuff needed for the harbor's health.
Which brings us perfectly to that core civic stuff. Moving from the party to the deeper fabric of community life, let's talk governance. Because right in the middle of all this dredging and fun, there was a pretty important meeting.
Right, the quarterly Channel Islands Neighborhood Council meeting. CINC. That was Thursday, October 23rd, over at the Pacific Corinthian Yacht Club. And it's important for you, the listener, to remember CINC represents the waterfront communities together. Mandalay Bay, Harbor Island, Westport, Seabridge. It's where residents get their collective voice heard by city and county officials.
And what's interesting is the agenda wasn't just routine stuff. It seemed really focused on ongoing quality of life things. City Manager Alex Nguyen gave a presentation, Keeping Oxnard Safe and Resilient. Okay, important topic. But zooming in, the discussion on harbor water quality status. That's always the point of tension, isn't it?
It is, and the key question there is, what was the substance of that update? Because this concern, it's always there, but it definitely spikes after weather changes, big rain, stuff like that. They weren't just reading data points, they were likely digging into how effective the new water quality monitoring protocols, the ones put in place earlier this year, are actually performing.
So residents are looking for proof. Like, are the strategies actually working against things like nutrient buildup or potential algae blooms in those quieter back channels? Stuff that directly impacts how nice the marinas look and feel.
Precisely. And the other big local issue they tackled was the update on skydiving over at Oxnard Airport. Classic local conflict, right? Balancing the airport's business with the noise and, frankly, safety worries of the neighborhoods right next door. They were probably debating operational hours, maybe specific flight paths that the airport management proposed.
The fact that these CINC meetings often run, 90 minutes, sometimes 2 hours,
Yeah.
it just shows how invested people are in tackling issues the average visitor wouldn't even think about.
Right.
These meetings prove locals aren't just reacting. They're actively shaping the conversation around safety, the environment, resilience, all of it.
It's that necessary, kind of unglamorous work that makes sure the harbor stays a great place to live long term. Ties right back into that resilience theme the city manager was talking about.
We should also give a quick nod to a couple of other cool community things recently. Sunday, October 19th, we had the Ponies by Sea Car show. That definitely brought some buzz to the harbor. Yeah, always popular. And sticking with the season, the Halloween float tours were a nice citywide touch. They kept running nightly through Oxnard with their scheduled stops right up until October 30th. A good final dose of community spookiness.
Which brings us pretty much right up to today, looking at the week immediately ahead, October 26th through November 2nd. The big Halloween splash on the water is over, but the spooky spirit is still around.
Well, the Halloween float tours, those are the last bit of local holiday action for the harbor area, running till the 30th. So that's the final chance for that neighborhood Halloween feel before we flip the calendar.
And once October ends and November begins, the focus shifts a little bit inland, but still very much about connecting the wider community through culture.
Yeah, looking ahead to Saturday, November 1st, there's the third annual Festival de los Muertos. Now, this is held at the Borchard Community Center in Newbury Park, but it draws people from all over Ventura County, definitely including our harbor folks.
So for anyone thinking of going, what's that event like? What can you expect? Oh, it's wonderful, really vibrant. It's free admission, starts at 4 p.m. It's a really important celebration of the cherished Mexican tradition, Dia de los Muertos. Expect crafts, live music, lots of different vendors, food.
Yeah.
Just a beautiful way to connect with local culture as we head into the bigger holiday season.
Okay, so as we start to wrap up this deep dive into the last couple of weeks of harbor life, let's pull out the critical points. What are maybe the two main takeaways that you should really hold on to from this period?
I think the first one is just the ongoing need for physical resilience. That dredging project running 24/7, moving 1.3 million cubic yards.
Right.
It's not optional. It's the basic defense mechanism for our coastline.
Right.
And the necessity of that work is why locals have to, tolerate the disruption. It's just part of the price of living right here on the water.
And the second takeaway, it's got to be about civic resilience, right?
Exactly. The same TNC meeting really highlights that the quality of life in the harbor isn't something that just happens. It's fiercely maintained by engaged residents. Their focus on complex, kind of specific issues, from the science behind water quality monitoring to airport skydiving safety rules, it shows a really sophisticated, active community advocacy.
So this whole period, covering both the huge technical job of dredging and the intense civic work of the CIC meeting, it just shows that keeping the Channel Islands harbor successful takes constant attention on the infrastructure side and the local governance side.
Couldn't agree more.
So here's the final thought for you to chew on. We love celebrating the big splashy stuff like that boat parade all lit up, but the community's real strength, its resilience, is often built in the quieter, maybe less visible hours. Think about those specific 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. limits on the heavy equipment over at Silver Strand. Where do you personally draw the line between the community's need for peace and quiet and the absolutely essential 24/7 work needed to protect your home from the coast washing away?
It's that constant balancing act, isn't it? Part of living on the California coast.
That's all the time we have for this deep dive into the Channel Islands Harbor local update. We'll catch you next week with more analysis and news from our home.
Until then, stay informed and stay engaged.